What if I told you the Rafael Devers the San Francisco Giants acquired is not the same Rafael Devers that the Boston Red Sox traded away? So the Boston Red Sox traded away their franchise cornerstone player and the remainder of his 10-year, $313 million contract to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for a package containing Jordan Hicks and the remainder of his 4-year, $44 million contract, Kyle Harrison, former number 1 Giants prospect, James Tibbs III, current number 4 prospect, and Jose Bayo, current 22 ranked prospect in the San Francisco Giants system per Fangraphs. This may be the biggest in-season acquisition the San Francisco Giants have ever made in my lifetime, and probably most San Francisco Giants fans' lifetimes, and Boston Red Sox fans are just kind of getting used to this at this point. However, what's interesting was Craig Breslow, the president of baseball operations for the Boston Red Sox. His justification for the deal was the math looked good. Okay, nerd, even if the math works out for the Boston Red Sox in the long term, I wanted to focus more on the 2 versions of Rafael Devers that were exchanged in this trade. Without going too much into the lore of Rafael Devers' offseason and his transition from a third baseman to a full-time DH, this move in of itself fundamentally altered Rafael Devers' analytical and financial value to the Boston Red Sox. And to make matters even worse, in Rafael Devers' introductory press conference with the San Francisco Giants, he said he was willing to play anywhere and do whatever the Giants needed to do, much to the chagrin of Red Sox fans. But if that's the case, then the San Francisco Giants acquired a much more valuable version of Rafael Devers than the version the Red Sox departed with. So in 2020, when I was covering the Detroit Tigers, their fan base was stunned when the Detroit Tigers drafted Spencer Torkelson, third baseman, first overall in the 2020 draft. This was shocking because Spencer Torkelson is famously not a third baseman. But why would the Tigers do such a thing? The answer is war, baby. In my research for this article, I learned that third basemen are intrinsically more valuable WAR accumulators than first basemen or DHs. So the attempt to shift Spencer Torkelson from first base to third base was a move to extract as much value from Spencer Torkelson as possible. And when I dug into this, I learned some pretty interesting stuff. So from 2015 to 2024, only 3 first basemen have accumulated more than 7 WAR in a single season. That came in 2023 when Freddie Freeman did it, and Paul Goldschmidt and Joey Votto did it in 2015. And an additional note, there's only been 11 7+ F-WAR seasons by first basemen since the end of the steroid era in 2005, and 6 of those seasons belong to Albert Pujols. That dude was pretty good. And the most interesting thing I found was that between the 3 first basemen that achieved this the most recently, the lowest WRC plus between them was 162, and they all had negative defensive ratings. So that means these guys absolutely had to mash in order to attain the WAR they accumulated. In that same span, there's been 9 seasons of 7+ WAR among third basemen, 2 of which were 8+ WAR seasons, one by Josh Donaldson in 2015, the other by Alex Bregman in 2019. Both players had a 154 and 167 WRC plus respectively, but neither of them had negative defensive values. They actually both had positive defensive values, which propelled their WAR score into the 8 WAR threshold. And furthermore, there's only been 2 designated hitter seasons that resulted in 7 or more WAR ever. This has only happened twice. Edgar Martinez did it once in 1995, and Shohei Ohtani did it in 2024. Both of these players had to hit out of their minds. Edgar Martinez got exactly a 7 WAR with a 182 WRC plus in 1995. And of course, Shohei Ohtani amassed 9.1 F-WAR on the back of a 50-50 season. So that just goes to show how much of an offensive producer you have to be in order to obtain 7 or more WAR. Going back to Rafael Devers, his highest career WAR was in 2019 when he had 6.5 F-WAR, and then in 2022, he had a 5 F-WAR. And it's no coincidence that his 2 highest WAR marks were both when he was a full-time third baseman, and they're the only 2 seasons when he didn't have a negative defensive rating. So in order to achieve his career high in WAR, he also had to play the best defense of his life at a more premium position. So this demonstrates that if Rafael Devers was only going to be a designated hitter for the Boston Red Sox, then he really didn't have a lot of value to them, especially not almost $30 million a year value. In the 3 seasons where Rafael Devers appeared in over 150 games, his highest WRC plus was 154, which is far away from the lofty 170 to 180 threshold that you would need to be a 7-WAR accumulator. But additionally, just that WRC plus alone does not justify a $30 million a year price tag. On the other hand, if the San Francisco Giants can extract some additional value out of Rafael Devers by moving him to first base and maybe even occasionally having him play third base, they're getting a much more valuable version of Rafael Devers than the Boston Red Sox had in the end. And in terms of the Red Sox, we're probably like 6 to 8 years away from really understanding what kind of return they're going to get. Jose Bayo is like 20 years old and he's in rookie ball. Kyle Harrison, we've seen him flash, but he's far from hitting his ceiling if he ever does. And James Tibbs III still has a lot of question marks about his overall game. Will he stick in the outfield where he'll accumulate more WAR, or will he move to first base where he'll accumulate considerably less WAR? In the end, this deal speaks more to the fact that Rafael Devers' situation in Boston had become more and more untenable both professionally and financially. And Buster Posey, being the savvy investor that he is, remember that he was one of the original investors in Body Armor before they sold to Coca-Cola. He saw an opportunity to buy low on a player that can have a meaningful impact on his team right now, but also he saw someone he can extract more value out of moving forward. It's understandable that Craig Breslow may get more WAR per dollar out of his return in this trade, but betraying a franchise icon and alienating your fan base in the process is a very hard way to sell that you won a trade. Hey, Julesy Ballers, thanks for watching this video all the way till the end. You're a loser. But if you like this video, how about you throw me a like and maybe even subscribe, and that'll incentivize me to do this like once a week or something? I don't know. Also, what do you think about this trade? Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to cover anything else in the future, and we'll see what happens. Watch this space.